Hey, what's up, everyone? We're back to discuss more of those commentary audio files that have been leaked and data mined from Street Fighter 6 that reveal a lot of information on characters that haven't been released yet, their special moves, and give us a lot of hints on how they're going to play. Now, there is a lot to discuss here, so me and Mir have already broken down a few characters, so if you guys missed out on them, we've done JP, Manon, and Marisa, and that's already on the channel, so check those out if you missed out on them. So today we're going to discuss Lily Mir. And this one will be really interesting, especially if you're a T.Hawk fan, because there's a lot of references to T.Hawk with Lily, as you guys will find out real soon.
Yeah, I'm sure this will fill the void in the hearts of the T.Hawk players.
So before we start breaking it down, guys, first let me just play all the audio files all at once, give it a listen, and then me and Mir are going to break it down one by one.
It's Lily's birthday today. The nature-loving Mexican warrior is a member of the Thunderfoot tribe, headed by none other than T.Hawk. She may look gentle, but when faced with someone she deems to have a tainted heart, you best believe she's gonna bring the storm. This Thunderbird's gonna sting! Snatches them! She don't even care how big the opponent is! They've got a full stack of wind to play with here. Condor Wind is helping them start a storm. Condor Wind's maxed out, taking them up with the level 2 super Thunderbird. Very solid Tomahawk Buster. Thunderbird, and with Condor Wind stocked, it's gonna deal even more damage. Cleared for landing. Mexican Typhoon, Tomahawk Buster. The Thunderbird strikes true. Spire takes them for a ride on the Thunderbird. Tags them with a Spire. Watch out, Typhoon coming through. Turning them inside out and throwing them into the spin cycle. Condor Wind is fully stocked now. Lily's neutral game is now even more dangerous. The Condor Wind added a bit of juice to that attack. Tomahawk Buster to shut him down. Condor Spire, Condor Dive, hits him with the Typhoon. Show him how the Thunderfoot do business. Just like Big Papa. Breezing Hawk goes end to end with the Breezing Hawk. Nice damage. Lily says, welcome to the club. My girl's flying. Hooks him. This is going to deal some big damage. Swoops in with the dive. In range for the Raging Typhoon. This is gonna take a chunk and then some. Dives in. The Raging Typhoon connects. Round and round they go. They're in for one rough landing. Full stock on the Condor Wind. Gotta watch for a sudden surge. Ops for the Breezing Hawk. Spire coming through.
Okay, so first, Mir, let's talk about the character herself, Lily. Maybe a little of her backstory is revealed through these audio files. First, let's go way back here, before these characters were even announced. We had a bunch of leaks, Mir, and the description for Lily before was that she was a Mexican girl in a green tunic with an Aztec weapon, and she may have had a relation to T.Hawk. Now, fast forward to today, when we hear these commentary files, we hear the nature-loving Mexican warrior is a member of the Thunderfoot tribe, headed than none other than T.Hawk.
The nature-loving Mexican warrior is a member of the Thunderfoot tribe, headed by none other than T.Hawk.
So this actually tells us a lot that it's pretty accurate on what was leaked before.
This is interesting because she is a Native American from Mexico, just like T.Hawk is, and from the same tribe as well. We can see that her weapons still exist, in the final leaked picture and what we have now. But we can see that some of her looks have changed from the original picture that we had.
Yeah.
In fact, she's not wearing a green tunic anymore, or a poncho, I suppose.
We noticed like the feather is not on her head anymore. She doesn't have the paint on her face. I think there was a feather on her necklace too in the leaked picture.
Yeah, multiple feathers, yeah.
And this is worth noting because with all the characters that were leaked before with their pictures, we haven't really seen kind of a change in the character's costume. Only this character, Lily. I guess with Manon, they had a different name before because it was all written in Japanese. I think Manon was written as Mimi, but I think that's as far as it goes. So another thing too, Mir, is the changes to the weapons, those Aztec weapons they're referring to. There's also paints, like a decoration on it as well. We can kind of see from the starting intro. So they changed that a little bit, but it looks like it's the exact same weapons from before too. Maybe Capcom thought it was a little too on the nose, with the feathers and stuff. Maybe that's why they changed it.
Yeah, that's possible. It's also possible that she was one of the last characters they worked on.
That's true too.
And as such, that the design wasn't finalized.
So you mentioned too, Mir, that she is part of a tribe called the Thunderfoot tribe, right? And this is led by T.Hawk. So this also gives us some hints on how the story goes, for T.Hawk.
Yeah, last we heard of T.Hawk, which was in Street Fighter 4, he actually didn't want to become chief of the tribe because he had perceived that he had failed in trying to get Julia back, which is Julie, one of the dolls. As such, he was on his journey to atone. But clearly, if he now is the chief of the tribe, something must have changed, especially after the events of Street Fighter V and the dissolution of Shadaloo. So maybe he finally managed to get Julie back as well.
So she obviously has some kind of relation with T.Hawk, same tribe, and obviously we're about to be talking about a lot of the same moves. So we can expect that a lot of things will be, inspired by T.Hawk, and this could be even a straight up rework of the character T.Hawk. The more we get into this, with that being said, Mir, we can assume her archetype as a character, and she's most likely a mobile grappler like T.Hawk was. Just from all this information. So the next piece of audio here is she may look gentle, but when faced with someone she deems to have a tainted heart, you best believe she's going to bring the storm.
She may look gentle, but when faced with someone she deems to have a tainted heart, you best believe she's going to bring the storm.
And this is another point I want to bring up, is that she's definitely a good guy. She's, really short. She doesn't look that intimidating,
I don't think size has much to do with what's in your heart, For that matter, T-Hawk was very big. Does that make him a bad guy?
Yes, it does.
Yeah? Is that how that works?
Dude, have you seen the Street Fighter 2 anime? T-Hawk was wanted to fight Ken for no reason. He had this giant 18 pack, okay? If you guys ever watched the anime, he's crazy in that anime. And it was a very short scene, but you look at Lily, and she, she has these two, club weapons, but she looks very short. If you look at T-Hawk's moves, how he grabs you and flies up on the screen in the sky, it's just hard to believe that she's the character that's going to be doing those same moves. But as they said in this quote, you believe she's going to bring the storm. So, she's not a timid character. And I think when they say storm, I think it's actually literal with her gameplay.
Yeah, we'll see later that there's more mentions of winds and storms, and that might have a lot to do with the character for sure.
Back to T-Hawk again. There's some more audio tracks here, and it says, just like Big Papa.
Just like Big Papa!
And even though it doesn't specifically say T-Hawk, it's pretty much all but confirmed that T-Hawk is probably her father.
Right, exactly. They're from the same tribe. They have the same moves. It seems, if anything, that this is the character that T-Hawk decided to transmit his legacy to, I suppose, right? Train her as a descendant. Maybe it's an adoptive daughter. It's not the real daughter, but based on what we were saying before, it makes sense that T-Hawk has been reunited with Julie after the dissolution of Shadaloo, and they might have set up family and had a kid, right? Or maybe multiple kids that we're going to get to meet.
It looks like, Capcom, once again, is really trying to have another revision of the character, And we've seen this work well, because, to be fair, I'm just going to be straight up. T-Hawk is not a popular character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
T-Hawk is not a popular character. I know there's T-Hawk fans out there, but I feel like Capcom really wanted to bring this character back, and they were trying to figure out ways to do that. And I think, and this worked before with Seth, that, maybe making a new character, Lily, or someone that's related to T-Hawk with his moveset might have been the best direction to make the character more popular and more appealing to people. I don't know if T-Hawk fans are going to be happy about this, playing Lily instead, but this is definitely an interesting way for Capcom to bring the character back, The last thing I want to mention about Lily Mir is the fact that, once again, she is carrying weapons, these Native American war clubs. And I tried, doing a quick Google search, Mir, and researching it, but I honestly couldn't find anything kind of definite on what these weapons are and all that. Do you have any extra insight for us on it?
Right. I'm not an expert because I'm more interested in medieval Europe myself, but I have to say that based on what I know and what I've looked up, these are traditionally shaped Native American war clubs, and, based maybe off of other Mesoamerican civilizations' weapons, like the Mayans and the Aztecs from an earlier period. But it's just a traditional shape in which to shape a club, basically. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just a stick with a pommel at the end that just used to bonk people over their heads.
Bonk.
So there's not much to say about that. If anything, in the artwork, it seems like it's a stone head rather than a wooden head, which is normally what it would be. That's about it. It's a stick.
But would you classify it as an ancient weapon?
Like I said, clubs go all the way back to prehistory, right? And at the end of the day, it's one of the simplest weapons you can come up with.
True.
So it's very possible that it is inspired by previous Mesoamerican civilizations.
All right, let's move on to Lily's gameplay now, Mir. And like usual, with every single character in Street Fighter 6, there's some type of unique mechanic that only that character can do. And Lily is no different. This time around, Lily is going to have this Condor Wind mechanic. And we hear the lines, Condor Wind is helping them start a storm.
Condor Wind is helping them start a storm!
And it looks like Lily is going to be using the storm literally like I mentioned before. There are some hints on what this system is, and that is it's possibly a stock level system. So we hear the lines, Condor Wind's maxed out. Condor Wind is fully stocked now. They got a full stack of wind to play with here. Full stock on the Condor Wind, gotta watch for a sudden surge.
Condor Wind's maxed out! Condor Wind is fully stocked now. They've got a full stack of wind to play with here. Full stock on the Condor Wind. Gotta watch for a sudden surge.
In my head, Mir, I'm automatically thinking like more than half the cast already has in the game is some type of stock system. But in this case, I think she's gonna level it like 1, 2, 3 maybe. Like Jamie with his drinks 1 to 4.
What I imagined was more like a bar that fills up with this wind, maybe by doing special moves or landing attacks, for example.
Oh.
And once it is full, it enhances your attacks in some ways, or you can spend it on, for example, a special move to give it an enhanced properties. Another possibility would be for this bar to fill up and deplete over time, kind of like oscillate. As the wind goes up and down, right? Ebbs and flows.
Damn,
and that's another possibility.
You're making
as
it
well.
sound like an anime game. Like that would sound like really complicated, don't you think?
Yeah, but Street Fighter 6 is complicated.
That's true. I mean, I was thinking something more simple with the stock system, but you know, now that I think about it, Amir, when you mention this, it doesn't exactly say stock level. It just says that the stock is fully stocked. And
right, it's either full or it's empty.
Yeah,
that kind of like.
That's kind of strange.
The two states.
It could be something wholly brand new. So that's definitely true. Okay, so the next obvious question, Mir, is what does this do when you have these stocks or when it's fully stocked, right? So we got more voice lines that say, Condor Wind is fully stocked now. Lily's neutral game is now even more dangerous. The Condor Wind added a bit of juice to that attack.
Condor Wind is fully stocked now. Lily's neutral game is now even more dangerous. The Condor Wind added a bit of juice to that attack.
But those lines, it's clearly obvious that it buffs her attacks in some way, her special moves in some way. It either adds more speed, maybe damage, range. What do you think?
Like you correctly mentioned, it definitely buffs attacks. And I think the damage is part of it. Since it was a wind effect, I would imagine that it would also buff the speed. But then I was also thinking that it could be an effect similar to Colleen's V-Trigger 2 from Street Fighter 5, where she gets additional range on her punch normals.
Yeah, like the ice, right?
Frost, yeah. So in this case, it could be wind extending from our normals, for example. Another possibility, assuming that you can consume it, special moves might have extra properties like maybe projectile invulnerability or travel longer distances, maybe faster startup as well.
Ooh, that sounds scary.
It could be maybe you decide not to spend it and it enhances your normal, or you decide to spend it for a special that is enhanced, and you get to choose which one of the two you want to do.
Once again, you're making this sound really complicated. It's gonna be
but it could be anything.
Yeah, it could be anything, exactly. I mean, the part where it says adds a bit of juice to that attack to me sounds like damage, like you were saying before.
Right.
But the one that really stands out is Lily's neutral game is now even more dangerous. When you say neutral, to me that sounds like the range and the speed, in specifically. So maybe it makes her moves travel much further and much faster. As we're going to talk about, a lot of her moves are high mobility moves like T.Hawk. So I would imagine it would do that. For sure that the wind at least amplifies one of her supers.
Right,
so,
it is mentioned directly in the quotes.
So we know right there that there's going to be some move is going to get amplified on damage for sure. All right, Mir, let's move on to the special moves now. But before we talk about the special moves specifically, I want to talk a little bit more about how she's going to actually attack the opponent. Because once again, this should be really easy to visualize because a lot of our moves literally have the same names of T.Hawk. So we're just going to automatically assume these moves work like T.Hawk, unless Capcom throws us for a spin and they're all completely different. Like, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be bait.
But even if she does have the same moves as T.Hawk, how are her normals going to work, right? So I think we should remind everyone again that once again, she has weapons. She has 2 weapons, one in each hand, and that's going to allow her to have kind of the range that T-Hawk did with his normals too. And,
Yeah.
I don't think T-Hawk's normal attacks are that interesting, to be honest. So her having weapons.
What about the silly stance? Where he's
what about the double sweep? Oh
I'm
man.
thinking that she might emulate that stance, but with the like her arms completely out and
but she has the weapon.
and the clubs basically being forward, kind of like to imitate forearms, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's that's
and maybe some
possible.
attacks will be similar, just hopefully looking less silly.
But we should point out, Mir, that there's like out of all the new characters, like nobody has a weapon. Like that's what makes Lily really unique, is she has a weapon.
Because they're saving Vega for the Vega DLC.
Of course. I guess there's Aki with the the claw kind of weapon.
Claws.
But we're getting way too ahead in the future here.
Yeah.
One line, Mir, is hooks him.
Hooks him.
When I heard this, I'm like, oh no. Before I even knew that she was gonna have like T-Hawk's moves, I thought she was going to be a character like Rolento. I guess I should point that out. I thought she was going to be like, because I saw she looks small, right? She has these weapons in her hand. When I looked at the first leak pictures, I thought she was going to be jumping off walls and hooking people and have these annoying moves where she like slides forward and sweeps you with the weapons and have this crazy range.
Yeah.
But it turns out that's not what's going to be. At least
now she has annoying moves that T-Hawk has instead.
Okay, let's talk about the actual special moves, guys. And you guys are going to recognize these names right away. Let's talk about the most important one, Mir, and that's Mexican Typhoon.
She don't even care how big the opponent is. Mexican Typhoon! Watch out! Typhoon coming through, turning him inside out and throwing him into the spin cycle. Hits him with the Typhoon!
So obviously, if you guys know anything about T-Hawk, this is his signature command grab. I think it was a 360 motion in Street Fighter 4, probably ST as well. And this is her big grab, but I have to point out the obvious, Mir. She's so tiny. How is she going to grab the opponent and just go up in the air and throw them down?
Well, I guess there's multiple theories. One is that she uses the power of the wind to lift you up, like maybe summons a little tornado and tosses you in the air like that. Another one is that she uses her clubs in some way to spin you around, as opposed to like hooking you and smashing you onto the ground. And then the last one is that she just grabs you by the head and slams you, just like his father, or her father, rather. I feel like that's the least probable.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
But we would be surprised. You never know.
I can't wait to see this animation for this. It's going to be hysterical. But it definitely seems there's something wind related on some way on how she grabs them. So maybe she physically does toss them into the wind, and then it just does the work for her.
Yeah, they just get scrambled like an egg.
And this is definitely her main move, Mir, because there are so many voice lines on it, over 6 lines. So this is definitely like her go-to move, Let's move on to the next move now. Tomahawk Buster, another familiar move, guys.
Tomahawk Buster! Very solid Tomahawk Buster! Tomahawk Buster to shut him down!
So once again, another exact move name from T-Hawk. This is T-Hawk's DP, which was done with a DP motion, I believe, with punch.
Well, in T-Hawk's case, he just basically hits you with his chest as he goes up, like a bird.
Yeah,
like but in this case, I don't know what it could be. Maybe Lily does kind of like opens her wings with her arms, and the weapons hit you, and that's what is gonna give the move the big hitbox that it always did.
I should also point out that a grappler character like T-Hawk having this uppercut or a reversal kind of move is pretty unique. Like most grapplers, they have good anti-airs with buttons, but not particular like anti-air moves, especially where the line says, shuts them down, so that automatically tells me that it's invincible.
I don't remember particularly if T-Hawk's normal DPs were invincible, but the EX definitely was in Street Fighter 4. And another neat thing about this move is that you could cancel it into the Condor dive.
Oh yeah.
So that's something that's gonna be interesting in Street Fighter 6 for combo potential and all that stuff.
Right, exactly. Okay, the next move, and I'm reluctant to talk about this one. Condor Spire returns.
Spire! Tags him with a Spire! Condor Spire! Spire coming through!
So another staple T-Hawk move, and this is T-Hawk's Unga move. And I'm going to be honest, guys, I hate this move so much.
You just don't like footsies.
Oh my god, dude, give me a break. This move is so Unga. This is the move where T-Hawk kind of goes a little bit off the ground and he moves straight forward. Before in Street Fighter 4, I think it was a reverse DP motion with punch. But I think they changed it on some late patch, Mir, right? Like in Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Right, in Ultra was changed to DP forward, with kicks.
With kicks,
And
yeah.
in Omega mode, it was
mode.
quadricycle forward instead.
You actually looked that up? Jeez.
I did look that up. In fact,
Oh.
that's what I remembered it being changed to. That
really?
shows how much I remember about T-Hawk. But I feel like out of these three options, the latter one is the one that makes the most sense. Quadricycle forward is probably what we're gonna see in Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I think so too.
And before it's like half cycle back. But
you gotta spam this move, and you're gonna be using it a lot.
It's interesting because this move is not a safe move unless you space it. So
or if
like
you play online.
The entire idea about T-Hawk is that you use this to approach and it avoids lows.
Yeah.
And it avoids them very well too. And then you hit people with it, and it's difficult to punish because it just spaces it and is like far away. So in Street Fighter 6, it might be really, really good, especially if it avoids a low and gets a punish counter. Maybe she can get a combo off of it.
And lows are really important in Street Fighter 6 because of the drive rush system, so you're really a lot of crouching medium kicks. I think it goes without saying here that this move goes really well with a character that has a command grab. Because she's moving forward at an elevated height. Another thing too, Mir, T-Hawk is not a character that really has big combos. And since Street Fighter 6 is kind of like every character is so robust and kind of like the ultimate version of every character, I would imagine that this would be one of her core moves that's going to start up a juggle state to the opponent. So, she can juggle into her super or whatever she wants to do. So I do believe that at least the OD version of this Condor Spire is going to knock him up into a juggle state. Another thing too, Mir, back to her Condor Wind stock system. If there's any move that's going to be enhanced when it comes to speed and range, I think this would be like the go-to, like her flying across the screen with this move at high speed. It's going to be insane, Anga. So when it comes to this wind stock, you guys have to imagine what these moves would be like if they were empowered some way, Okay, fourth and final move, Condor Dive. Of course, Condor Dive returns.
Condor Dive! Swoops in with the dive! Dives in!
And this is T-Hawk's signature dive kick move. Another Unga move, by the way, Mir. This was done in Street Fighter 4 with 3 punches, I think, and you can press 3 kicks for the EX or OD version.
I mean, Unga, but punishable. This was a move that had a lot of recovery on block. The idea was that you could neutral jump in safety and do the dive if you saw the opponent do anything, right? Which is why it was so punishable. But you kind of needed to know you're punished because you bounced off pretty far away. Kind of like how Blanca bounces off of you with the Blanca ball. So, it was a knowledge check in that sense.
Knowledge check.
In Omega Street Fighter 4, they made it so that it doesn't bounce off on block. And it is much safer as well. And another thing that they did was that it was just a quadricycle forward motion. So what this let them do was to add different versions of the move. So like the light one was a pretty steep angle, kind of like a short dive kick. The medium was just about the same. And then the heavy let T-Hawk basically dash in the air. It was kind of like an air dash with a hitbox. And then act out of this, kind of like how Hibuki has that flying carpet in Street Fighter 5. Sort of same idea where she can come down and hit you with a jumping attack. That's what T-Hawk could do as well. And I feel like that's the version that they would implement.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, good thing you checked the Omega mode. I think that makes a lot more sense because 3 punches, you have no control over which version you do. It's this very simple move, right? But if she only has 4 moves, I would imagine this move, besides Unga, is that its particular use that they want you to use it for is to make your opponents second guess their anti-airs, because of the different speeds, right? And also to travel over fireballs because, you are, in fact, a grappler character. You want to get in close, and this is one of the ways you approach the opponent, right? But man, like with those wind stalks, those Condor Wind, just seeing Lily just fly full screen from height, I don't know, man. She has so many, like having T-Hawk's moves, and knowing that they can be enhanced, there's so much air mobility, even from the ground with Spire, right? So the dive, the Spire, I mean, oh man. Another thing too is that, Lily's probably gonna be a character that's gonna be in the air a lot because T-Hawk is too. He's got a lot of moves that he does in the air, and he has a really high jump arc, and he's got that belly flop command normal, was like the heavy body press, I think it was called, down heavy punch in the air. Lily is going to be a very kind of always in the air kind of character in Street Fighter 6, and she'll probably have those similar command normals, but with her weapons in her hands. And I think the Condor Wind is going to help somehow make it even trickier to deal with, maybe like low-key, kind of like Rashid almost. But with this being said, Mir, we've named all 4 of her special moves are all literally T-Hawk's moves, the exact same names and probably the same functionality, so it does seem like she is indeed some kind of rework for T-Hawk.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Again, the function had some merits, but the character was just very unpopular, so
Yeah.
they
And
just decided to change it from the ground up as far as the aesthetics are concerned.
okay, Mir, let's talk about her supers now. So her supers, I think we have a pretty good idea on which super is which level, but not really what they do. The first one is called Breezing Hawk, and this is her level 1.
Breezing Hawk goes end to end with the Breezing Hawk. Nice damage. Ops for the Breezing Hawk.
So the part where it says goes end to end pretty much tells us that she goes from one side of the screen to the other.
It made me think of either like a super powerful Condor dive that she could use in combos. But then again, being a level 1, you kind of want it to be easily comboable into. So it might be something that she does on the ground and then just has massive corner carry.
I was thinking something physical in Enhanced Condor Spire, where she goes straight forward. You know, that would be pretty sick. It'd be nuts if she went through fireballs, for example, too. The second super, this one's clearly her level 2. It's called Thunderbird.
This Thunderbird's gonna sting! Snatches him! Taking him up with the level 2 super, Thunderbird! Thunderbird! And with Condor Wind stocked, it's gonna deal even more damage! The Thunderbird strikes true! Takes him for a ride on the Thunderbird!
Well, the line that kind of stands out to me, Mir, is where it says snatches them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that means just a hit or a throw. Maybe a throw that you do in the air. It could be an anti-air throw. There's a lot of possibilities here. It is possible that she just hits you with her body or with her weapons in some way.
Since she is a character that's mostly going to be in the air, I would imagine, you know, I think it would be cool if she did have an air super where she does, like, I don't know, a Tomahawk Buster OD, and then she can convert it into her Thunderbird level 2 and she goes down or something. Something like Kimberly, she has an air super as well, you know? I would imagine that, because I don't think she's going to have like 2 grab supers, which we're going to get into, you know, where she jumps up and grabs them. That'd be crazy if she had 2 grab supers. So the final super, and this is a big one, guys, her level 3, it's called Raging Typhoon.
In range for the Raging Typhoon! This is gonna take a chunk and then some! The Raging Typhoon connects. Round and round they go. They're in for one rough landing.
If you guys know T-Hawk, this is literally the name of his Ultra 1 command grab super in Street Fighter 4. And I think it was done with a 720p motion with 3 punches. I think, Mir, this is our first 99.9% certainty that we're having a command grab super in Street Fighter 6.
Right, something peculiar about the super is that the Ultra it's based off of was a true 720 in the sense that it was a 1-frame startup super, where if you hadn't jumped before the flash, you were just caught.
Yeah,
right.
We know Zangief can combo to his grab super in Street Fighter 5, and it works that way. But you know, Street Fighter 6 is a totally different system. It really worries me because almost all the buttons are minus in this game. You know, minus on block. So what does that mean? You do 1 poke on Lily, and she can, you know, she can literally punish you with a command grab level 3. I might have
better footsies next time. Come on.
Oh, come on, Merrick. No, there's no way Capcom would do that. And speed definitely concerns me, you know, and since it's a level 3, there's going to be a CA version of this, and it might be enhanced by her wind stocks. So this might be like one of the most damaging supers in the game, and it's an unblockable grab. And what about Drive Rush? You know, you add Drive Rush on top of that. So with all this being said, Mir, that she has 4 of T-Hawk's core special moves, and that we know that one of her supers is one of T-Hawk's core super moves as well. I think it's pretty much confirmed that she looks like a rework of the T-Hawk character, and she's going to have some kind of relation with him. It might even be her father. So I wonder how the T-Hawk fans feel out there. You know, are you guys interested in playing Lily? And if you guys weren't a T-Hawk fan, are you guys interested in playing her now? Capcom's taking a chance with this character because now it's not T-Hawk. And, you know, on top of all of this, Mir, does that pretty much confirm that T-Hawk is not coming to Street Fighter 6?
Right. I would assume that he wouldn't be coming unless they introduce him as a character with a completely different function, right? Or it could be a background, you know, secondary character in the story mode, a world tour. Maybe you go to his village and you meet him, and he prepares you for a journey to the spirit world.
So, Amir, that pretty much wraps up all the brand new characters so far in Street Fighter 6 that are coming to the game. So I guess the next time we should start breaking down some of the returning characters and see how maybe they might have changed. So guys, look forward to more videos. We're going to be breaking down more of the audio files for the returning characters, and let us know your thoughts on Lily if you're considering using a mobile grappler like her instead of another grappler like Manon. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.